Pete, do you mind being first?
No, that's fine.
All right, so I'm gonna,
Talking about the pandemic and silver linings or anything. I don't know if it's quite a silver lining, but I think I've played more golf this year than I have in the last 2 or 3 years put together. Because that was the only activity really we had to do. Colorado at first kind of locked down pretty quickly, but then the city of Denver, where our golf course is, opened it up for golfing. So that was nice. I still think the past couple of years I had some medical things, and it kind of prepared me for sitting home a lot. So this year wasn't quite as stressful, I don't think, as it probably has on some. And it's too bad for those that have had a real difficult time. And I think about you. But it's really nice to be able to get here on time this time and see everybody. Since last time, I think I was here for about a quarter of it at the end. And, I think everybody is looking well now with the red sweaters. I think that's a great idea, Jim, to do, since we can't get together for the lunch. Not that I've been to one. But no, other than that, things are fine. The kids are good, touch wood, behaving ourselves, and really heeding, I guess, what the scientists have to say. And I think with that, hopefully we'll get through this. And now with the vaccines showing promise, but it's still going to be a bit of time for everybody to be able to get inoculated and this type of thing. So hang in there, everybody. It's going to come. So,
so anybody want to ask Pete a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Pete, do you have any snow out there that you can send to us?
Well, I wish I could. We got about 6-7 inches last Monday, and it's been cool enough at night that if you don't face the sun where it burns off very fast, if you're in the shade, and I've got a north-facing driveway, which was brilliant, you still have some snow on it. So I'd like to get you some snow out there, but Marion, we really need any moisture we can get ourselves. So I hate to be selfish about it.
Pete Deem, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Is Richie Good still out there?
Yes.
He doesn't live too far from you.
Not very far. He retired a few years ago.
Oh, there's Susan.
And I guess he finally said enough was enough of the doctoring business.
Yeah. Okay. I just wonder if he still lived out there.
Yeah, as far as I know. And
I think he was your doctor for a while, wasn't he?
He was. Yeah, it was always kind of a interesting story. When I got out here, I didn't realize he was here.
Yeah.
And somehow or another, I heard he was. So I called his office and I said, hey, could I see about getting on as a patient with Dr. Good? And the lady said, well, no, I don't think so, because he's not taking any new patients. I said, well, why don't you just give him my name and see what happens? And I got a call back very quickly. So it was it's kind of interesting going to him as a doctor.
Right.
He was good. He was good. He had a good reputation.
Good. He's a good guy.
Yep. There he was.
Move along to Maggie. Maggie, you want to say a few words to the group? Well, you had some pretty good jokes at our last red sweater.
Well, I do have one. Do you want me to start with it?
Of course.
Okay. The wife is standing before the judge and he says to her, what she had done. And she said it was shoplifting. She had stole a can of peaches. And he says, well, how many peaches were in that can? And she said, well, there were 6. He says, then you will get 6 days of restitution. And the husband's back in the audience waving his hand, and the judge calls on him and he says, oh, I just wanted to mention she also took a can of small peas. So anyway, going on, I want to say a warm welcome to everybody. Good to see all of you. I've gotten together with Marion and Marianne and Lynn over here in Owatonna and also in Faribault. So we've had good times, and I sure want to thank everybody for their prayers and their thoughts and their support. And the Lord is giving me the gift of time. I'll be coming up on 77 on December 8th. So it'll be a nice birthday to see. But anyway, I wanted to show you here. I'll hold it up. And can you see our class there from before with the red sweaters?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, some of us have that calendar, and then I did a calendar for my mother's Nelson side and got that done. And then I'm proud to say, this one here is one I did for a friend, and it's military vehicles. And the guys would enjoy this because this friend has collected like the Mack truck and different trucks in here for years, and he's a mechanical engineer, and what he does is he gets 3 or 4 of these trucks, and then he takes parts from the ones and makes a finished product. So it was really an honor to be able to put this book together for them, but have had a few bumps, but many more blessings. So all is well here. Hope all is well with all of you. And if there's any questions, should I get those in, Jim?
Sure.
Okay.
Has anybody got a question for Maggie?
We chatted.
Where
do you
because
get
we
your
got up so
energy?
early.
Yeah, Pete and I got to talk, and I have been trying to behave myself. You know, it is a little hard. I go for chemo every 3 weeks, and we tell jokes there too. And when they put me on the operating table, the groups increase because they all want to come in and hear my joke before they put me under. And laughter truly is medicine. It really does work.
You're becoming a
So-
legend there, Maggie.
Yeah, you personify that one.
Well,
Bonnie, on my
blessings
screen,
to
you're
you
up
all.
next, Bonnie Clee.
Oh, I thought
So you want to maybe update it? You weren't at the last one, were you? I don't
No,
think.
I wasn't at the last one. I think I was just learning Zoom, but now I'm on it every day, too much. But let's see, when did we go into hibernating? Was that in February?
March.
March.
March. I mean, it's been like a long time. You know, I had a movie that's been written for me, and they were just about ready to pick out the actress when everything stopped. So I haven't heard anything since, and I just wrote the writer an email to see what's happening, because I see there are a lot of new movies out, and I don't know where they're filming them, but I'll find out. But anyway, so I've been in hibernating for the whole year. I tore my knee, so I had a meniscus repaired. Yeah, very painful.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, most people have. I didn't know the meniscus wear out, but they do. Anyway, so I just finished my physical therapy for that. But anyway, Maggie, I'm sorry to hear that you're under chemo. Most of us, not most of us, but I've done it myself. So you get through it. And I wish
Oh,
you the
yeah.
best of luck.
Thank you. My first bout with cancer was in 1993. So I figure, yeah, 1993 I had breast
Wow.
cancer. So the good Lord's kept me around for a reason. It must be to visit with all of you.
Well, so did it come back?
It came back in 2010 and I had 14 months of chemo. And now again, in between, I had 4 bouts with skin cancer. And now I've got pancreatic. So
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah.
This is going to be interesting.
well, you know, a lot of
My
people are surviving. So
Yes. And I must mention too, Butch and Ray came to see us too. So thank you, Butch.
You're welcome, Maggie. My pleasure.
anyway, nice to see everybody.
Good to see you all.
So Bonnie, I don't know if everybody knows the background of why you are involved in having a movie made about you. you want to just kind of fill them in? I think it's interesting.
Yes, when I first came to California, I worked for Atomics International. We had 10 reactors. We had a meltdown. We had, well, let's see, 3 failures, one of them when I was there. And the cancer that comes from radiation,
Not good.
it takes many years. It, took 20 years or more. So I ended up with bladder cancer. Government in Washington passed a compensation program for all the workers who worked for the Cold War. And anybody who worked with radiation and got cancer is supposed to get compensation. Well, my workers weren't getting paid, none of them. We had 2 paid when I filed my claim. And so to get all the workers paid, I did a special petition where I had to prove that they didn't have the records to give our radiation a dose. And I proved it, and I got over 3,000 workers compensated with compensation and lifetime insurance. So
Great.
that's pretty good, going from 2 to 3,000. So supposed to do a
Congratulations.
movie.
Good
Thank
for
you.
you.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
Well done. So Butch, people, you're next up on my screen. So if you have something to say, it's your opportunity.
Sure. Can you all see me okay?
Oh, yeah.
Wave your
Yeah.
hand.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Ray and I moved up to Lutzen, Minnesota in 1974. And we lived at a resort for 5 years, and then we bought our own home. I continued to work at the resort for 27 years. And we raised 4 children up here. And we just love the North Shore. Different classmates have come up from time to time to visit us. It's been great to see some of them. I've been a real active guy. I love outdoor sports. I remember the days when Ellie and I were on the tennis team, and Denny Mathis and some of those guys. I'm on the Cook County Tennis Association Board of Directors. But since pickleball became so popular in the last few years, I've gotten involved in that. And up until COVID came around, I was playing a couple of times a week, maybe 3 times once in a while. It's a great sport for anyone. I encourage any of my classmates to take it up if you've never tried it. You don't have to be real physically fit even. You can play at your own ability and so on. So it's a great sport, pickleball. In the wintertime, I've got a couple of guys that really like to ice fish. And of course, living up in the North Shore, there's all kinds of lakes. So I enjoy ice fishing. Catching a nice northern through the ice is a real thrill. You never know what's going to be on that line. You can't see anything until you get them up through the hole. That's a lot of fun. Well, let's see. We have 8 grandchildren. That's kind of interesting to have that many blessings. We'll call them that. As we approach that time in our life when we never know when the Lord's going to call us home, I think of all the things that each of us have done. But when the final chapter in our life is written, what we did with the Lord Jesus Christ is the most important thing. Did we accept him as our Savior, or did we just acknowledge him as a good man? It was a lot more than that. And I became a born again Christian in 1967 during the 6-Day War, and went forward to the Billy Graham Crusade. And that changed my life considerably. I was a pretty wild guy back in high school, and not so proud of some of the things I did, but the Lord got that turned around for me, and I've been enjoying my walk with the Lord ever since. So with that, I'll pass it on to who's ever next.
All right. Unless somebody has a question for
Yeah.
Butch. Well, Susan Breezy Pajari, you're up next. You need to unmute yourself
Okay, Well-
and tell us how things are down in the south.
Well, I have two daughters. One lives in Kennesaw, the other in Atlanta. So I see, I made a decision. I was not going to isolate from my family. I mean, I did for about 3 months and I got so depressed I couldn't stand it. So I see them every couple weeks. I have four grandchildren who are all young adults. The oldest is 24. I have two granddaughters and two grandsons. But anyway, what I want to do though is to tell you a story about something that happened when we went to northern Minnesota to place my husband's ashes in his burial site. My daughters were both there, and my youngest daughter, her name is Lisa. And years ago, she went on a bike ride across Georgia, and she was just really tiny. She was like 9 years old. And so my husband rode with her every inch of the way. And sometimes she'd get so tired, she'd want to take a nap, and he'd stop and let her take a nap. And at the end of this bike ride, they gave her a special Snoopy bank. And as a reward, because she was the youngest child to complete this bike ride. What happened? Anyway, she got the Snoopy bank, and then she kept it all the time that she was a little child, and when she got to be a teenager, and then when she became an adult, for some reason she gave it to my husband, and then he gave it back to her. Anyway, she gave the bank back to Roger at some point in time, but I mean, he had it, and then and later on, I mean, shortly before he died, he gave it back to Lisa. So anyway, that's what happened to the bank. But then we all went up to northern Minnesota to the Alango Cemetery, and we had a nice small cemetery. And it was a year after he had died. I mean, he's been gone a year and like 3 or 4 months. So anyway, a friend of mine had given him a prayer shawl, and the whole time he was with me in my house here in Snellville, Georgia, I kept him wrapped up in the prayer shawl, and I just felt that he was, in a good place being wrapped up in a prayer shawl. And then so he went into the ground wrapped up in the prayer shawl. And then my daughter, Lisa, who is now a middle-aged woman of 49, totally delightful and sweet, she came up with the Snoopy bank and told the story about the Snoopy bank. And that went into the grave with my husband as well.
Oh,
That's the story I wanted to share with you.
Then it would be Marv Botke. You need to unmute yourself and
Okay, greetings to everybody. I'm glad to see all of you again. This is always such a great thing, and it's thank you, Jim, for organizing these events, even when we can't be there live and in person. It's still great to get together, and even on Zoom, and which is a little bit about what I have been doing this last year since the pandemic hit. I retired 14 years ago, and then I didn't really retire from the airport. I retired, but then I joined their volunteer program, and I went back out the airport and volunteered for a number of years. Then I came back part-time, working a little bit in the office, and then this past year when the pandemic hit in March, we discontinued the program temporarily, suspended it is the word. And so we weren't going to have anything. Well, then a couple of months went by and we started talking about putting in some sort of a virtual assistant program. And I got involved with that. So now I go to my man cave a couple hours at a time, not too often, but I sit at the man cave like we are on Zoom, and I have a backdrop behind me as if I'm working for the airport, put on my uniform, and then we have a big screen out there where the traffic is, and people talk to the screen, which would be me when I'm on duty, and ask for information. And then I look it up for them and help them find their way in the airport, which can be sometimes kind of intimidating to some of the passengers that aren't real seasoned in travel. So that's kind of what I've been doing this last year. We didn't do the traveling that I'd like to do. We did do a nice drive trip, went up through the western side of Minnesota and ended up in St. Cloud where my daughter lives. In fact, I was going to look up Dennis, and we just ran out of time, and I didn't get to look up Tom Larson either. Then we ended up down in Faribault for a few days, and that was the only traveling that we did this year. We're just not ready to jump on an airplane yet. Hopefully this whole thing will change in the next year. And it is really nice to see Bonnie and Maggie. It's amazing. You're just an amazing person in this world. And good to see Peter. Some of us have weathered through some adversities with our health, and we're still here. And it's remarkable.
Praise the Lord.
I really don't have anything else to add to it. And I know we got a lot of people that probably got more important things to share than I. So I'll pass it on to whoever is next.
All right, Carol Berg, you're up.
We've had quite a year, Karen and I both. As some of you know, our dad passed away in May, 100 years plus 6 months. So
Oh.
we spent
Wow.
the past 8 months back and forth to Faribault, and otherwise, he had a good life, and we were so lucky to have him as long as we did. Our health is fine, and we wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and stay safe.
Ooh, thank you.
And kind of a side story, do you want to tell them what your dad did when it came time that his class was going to shut down doing events like this?
He apparently was the last person in his class in the Faribault area, and they still had a treasury. And so he donated that to our class, which is
Oh,
pretty neat.
I thought
that's
that we maybe should think about who'd we send any leftover money to when it gets to that point.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah, no, I thought that was really kind of cool that that happened.
Yep.
Oh.
interesting.
Ollie Larson, you're up.
I'm up. I'd just like to, can you see me?
Yep.
Yep.
I would just like to say, have you all think a minute about where we were 60 years ago right now. We're all seniors in high school. We all got plans for our whole future life, and now it's all gone by us in 60 years. It's hard to believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that in this next year of 2021 that we'll be able to get together again. I really miss, we get together in Faribault area here about every 3 months, and it's really a great time. And this red sweater deal is really been big every year where we all get together. And our health has been up and down a little bit. Diane suffered with a broken leg and still suffering with it. We got one more operation to go, hopefully. And that's going to be fairly soon here, we hope. So, and I got 2 boys, one in Wisconsin with a family of 4, and they range from 25 down to a senior in high school at 18. So they're all growing up, and I've got another son down in Missouri. It's kind of interesting, Pete, when I go by St. Joe, Missouri, a number of times a year, I think of your mom and dad down there. And I actually was there one time when my son was playing baseball there and called your folks when I was there. Of course, your dad was playing golf.
You can turn the light on if you want.
Of course he was.
But anyway, the kids, my grandkids and my kids have all had COVID-19. They've all, thank God, they've all had light cases of it and passed it. I think I only have 2 that haven't had it, and everybody has gotten through it without really being sick. And so it's a blessing, and hopefully Diane and I will stay clear of it. We've been isolated now for quite a while. We came back from Florida the 1st of March, and basically been hibernating ever since. We have a cabin in French Lake where we were able to get out to a number of times this summer. And so that's about it with us. We're just playing it cool, and I'd like to wish everybody a happy holiday. I know some people, we really feel kind of bad we haven't been able to get together with our kids because of COVID-19 and so on, and we may not be able to get together with them on Christmas either, but we Zoom back and forth, and it's almost like you're being there. So I appreciate you all, and the friendship has lasted a long time. Some of us that go all the way back to McKinley, have been in school together for over 70 years. That's hard to believe.
Right.
And I'm only 59, so I can't figure that out. That's about it. Thank you.
I got a question for Ollie. This is Switz.
Hi, Switz.
Yeah. I ran into one of your lady friends.
Oh, boy.
You remember Sam Hudson, your sixth grade teacher?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or where is she?
Well, she's still up in the Dakotas. She said, when I ran into her, she said, well, if you ever see Birdman, let him know that I say hi.
Well, that's great. You know, Tom's sixth grade was two of the best years I ever had in school.
Oh, that's a good one. Well, I've got Denny Mathis up next. So Denny, you want to
Sure.
say a few words?
Hello, everyone. I look forward to seeing you all. Maggie, you're Margaret, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Margaret.
Yeah.
But ever since I changed to Maggie, I've had more fun.
Okay, 'cause I don't want to call you Maggie. I like that. Okay. Anyway, I like the red shirts thing. I'm not sure, was it because of Christmas? Is that what we're celebrating or? Okay. I don't have any, I didn't have any red trousers, but I got my red socks on. And I hope my pink underwear will be all right. That's all I got to say about that. But anyway, it's nice to be here and everything's good with my wife and family and I'm hobbling along on a walker. I lost my balance pretty much and I'm up to bat for knee and hip replacement but otherwise everything's good. With the virus, it's tough for our grandkids, but we take care of them now during the week. And they go to school here with their computer, and we got them both bedrooms set up real nice for them. So they enjoy that. And, you know, I was looking at the yearbook this morning, and I was having a good time going through it. And I think I recognize just about everyone here. And everybody's still good looking, by the way. Anyway, it brought up the things that I wish I would have done and I didn't, or I didn't do and I did. Just give one example. When I was a sophomore in high school, I was asked by the choir director if I wanted to go to the Boys Octet. I said, sure, I'll go to the Boys Octet. But we never performed that year. In Christmas, Chuck Renicky was the leader, and he had a sore throat. And then come spring, we didn't make it. We were canceled again because of something I can't remember, whatever. But and then I quit. I don't know why I didn't keep on rolling because I really enjoyed Boys Octet. I noticed that Pete and Ollie and a few other people on it were on it, so I missed that. But anyway, I don't have anything else to say. I guess it's great to see you. Thank you for making my high school plus my senior year great, and have a good Christmas and have a happy New Year and more. And thank you.
Switzenberg, I got you next. You want to?
Oh, this is Switzenberg. It's really great seeing you all. And ever since I had all those head concussions, I can, the faces are so familiar. It's like we're back in high school. But because of my memory losses, it's a bitch. But it comes. But I just want to thank you all for being here. You're really making my Christmas great. This is the first. This is the first Christmas. We're going out and partying with my friends. Has kind of dropped off quite a bit because of the virus, and also because this is my 14th month of being sober. And that has really, well, thank you. This has really changed my life. It's really quite different, but now that I get through this Christmas season, it'll be much easier. I got a call from Bangkok, Thailand, and those guys that I've known real well up there. They were partying and dancing, and they want to know where in the hell I was. But I had to tell them that I was now sober for 14 months, and they said, "Ah, Christ, Switch, you gotta be shitting me." But I said, "Well, get over it, you know." But it's really something because I've got. We were going to AA or the Al-Anon Society, and I had about 20 friends that I've made there, and it's really been great. And of course, then we've had a few outbreaks there, and I had to go into quarantine, and then everybody else had to go into quarantine. And so now we're Zooming. Every day we Zoom. And thank God for that. And thank God for Zooming with us here, with you all. It's really great. But I'll tell you what, give me that shot because I want to see you all in about a year from now. I mean, it's crazy. I guess we're all going to get shot up here pretty soon. So that's really good news. And it's good seeing Marianne there, kind of like my neighbor of years and years ago. And it's great seeing you all. And let's see, I was going to say something else too, because it's just escaping me here. But God, she was just on here a little while ago. She had a white sweater on, and Susan Breezy. That's what it was. Yeah, I don't know if Susan does remember, but I was really hot for her years ago. I tried dating her, but,
I would never forget you.
Hi, Susan. But we had a good time, didn't we? Yeah. But anyway, you're all great, and I do truly miss you, and can't wait till we can all get together again. You say it's 12 years, man. Doesn't seem like it can possibly be that. Thinking back to all the guys that we were like Ollie and King and Colger and all of us guys that hung out together, and I even remember Billy Green and Dean Lockman. For Christ's sakes, you know, it's just and who in the hell is Pete Dean?
Darn if I
got
know.
laughing. Hi, Pete.
Hi, Tom.
Play golf. One of these days, he and I are going to have to play golf. So, for that, I'm going to say goodbye. I wish you all a Merry Christmas. Have a Happy New Year, and stay safe. Just stay safe. And I'll pass on to whoever.
So it's
Tom
good
Larson.
for you.
All right, I've got Tom Larson up next. So Tom, you want to go?
Yeah, I just want to say congratulations, Switch. Man, he's done the best thing he ever could have done in his whole life. I know I'm still there, and it changed my life many years ago. But I'll tell you what, best thing I ever did. So, congratulations to you. I'm really proud of you.
Good on you, Tom.
This is the first time, and I've never been to a red sweater, so here I am. It's nice to see you, Pete. Nice to see you all. I just was looking at you and remembering about Lincoln School yard right across from your house where we played ball and got in fights and did all kinds of stuff over there. That was
on bicycles.
First grade, second grade, third grade, fifth grade. Anyway, I'm in Arizona. I'm in Green Valley right now, and but otherwise we live in Brainerd. And in the summertime, either in my house or at the house, or else I have a cabin on the river on the Mississippi. And so we're between the two when we go home. And now we bought a place down here, and so we'll be here like 6 months, I think.
Pretty area.
We came really early this year because we told our children that there would be no Christmas or no Thanksgiving Both my granddaughters had COVID and some of the other relatives, and I said, I just can't get around. I'm pretty much compromised, so my wife kind of keeps me out of everything, and so we've been really doing nothing. I haven't been in a grocery store since last February. Today, for the first time, I went into Costco. I ran in and ran out. I didn't even buy, I didn't stop in the line. I just let her do all the work. And I just went back in the car. But, you know, it's really good to see you all. Really, really is. And every time there was a 3-month deal, you know, Brainerd is 3.5 hours, and I just all of a sudden, I never made it. And I really wish I would. The only time I came was when our 80th birthday was, or 80th birthday. 70th birthday was.
Not yet, Tom, please.
I'm looking forward already, you know. When I brought back,
we already are.
And then he passed on, so I'm glad I wasn't. I don't know. His breathing was pretty bad, and mine's pretty bad also. But you know, we are what we are, and we're here, and that stinking COVID is terrible. But I've been trying to be really, really safe, and I'm in Green Valley where there's like 22,000 houses full of old people, and so far we've been doing pretty well here. I've got really good neighbors, and we I don't know, they open and close the pools. They do the same thing and we do in Brainerd. You know, we can't do any more here than we can do there, but it seems like Crow Wing County and Aiken and all those counties up there are really spiking right now. And it's bad down here, but it doesn't seem to be quite as bad. So at least we can be outside here. Yeah. It's not a very nice day today, though. It's only 59 and it's windy.
Oh.
Otherwise, you know, normally it's 70, 72, 75, and it just really sucks because I really like to see the snow, which is baloney. So, anyway, it's great to see you all, and I'll shut up.
All right. Well, Fran, Holmblad, Spitzak, you are up. You need to unmute your microphone. There you go.
Got my mic on now. So good to hear from everybody. Good to see you all. And I do enjoy Zoom, often on Zoom things with our church. And I'm just so thrilled that I can also see church online. My health has been so compromised this year with a lot of pneumonia and bronchial infections. Started last December and had been ongoing. And even after the COVID stuff, I couldn't get into Mayo to see a pulmonologist. So had to wait for September, finally got in. And issue in my lungs, keeping me from breathing well, has started doing some reversing now, and the damage that was done, they believe will reverse. So it's not COPD, it's not COVID related, it's just conditioned to me. So, but I have a lot of friends who've been praying for me in our class, and I want to thank everybody for that, because and I'm happy in my home. I've been isolated, nobody in, and it just is a good thing for me while I'm so vulnerable. So I appreciate that. So my daughter, who lives in Faribault, she and her husband come once a week or so and do things I need to do, but they won't come in at all. They just do the outside stuff and then fix a light or whatever out there. And so, but I said, and my other daughter lives in Pennsylvania and is happy there. But I said it's worth spending time raising our kids well, so that when we get old, then they take care of us very well. So it just is a good thing that they take care of me the way they do and care for me as they do. So I am very blessed. We are very blessed, and thank God for that. I'm feeling a little a little sensitivity toward places like the country club today. They're doing without us. And that has to be pretty significant for their businesses. All the businesses in Faribault and Minnesota are suffering with that lack of being able to earn their income. And so I just think we need to pray for those people who are going through things that I like my retirement fund, and I know that it's something that I can count on and being there, but there are a lot of people who don't have any income right now, and just a sad state of affairs. So we appreciate all we have and how lucky we really are in so many ways, but continue to care for those who don't have. So it's good to see you all, and Merry Christmas to everybody.
Same to you.
Same to you.
Merry Christmas. Excuse me.
Well, Slicko is up next.
Oh, that's not me.
The man himself, Wayne King.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good, Wayne.
Thank
you.
Just listening to everyone, I was just trying to, like we probably all did, see what am I going to say when it's my turn up there? I've been saying that since I was in first grade, probably. I have no problem talking anymore. But listening to all of you talk, it's interesting because I guess I'm not going to go into any of the COVID stuff because I know we're all suffering from that. I don't know that we're suffering, but we're all getting through it as best we can. But just listening to everybody talk and the memories they have of Faribault and growing up there. One of the things that's been fortunate for us is our kids both live I have two kids, a boy and a girl, and them and their families are nearby. My daughter lives here in Rochester. My son lives in Stillwater, and we had a cabin up in northwest Wisconsin for 13 or 14 years, and we got rid of it. And my son, 2 years later, they had so much fun he bought one not far from there. He's in Balsam Lake now, near St. Croix Falls up in Wisconsin. But anyway, we pretty much do everything with our kids and the grandkids, and I've been fortunate to my daughter's kids, especially. They were starting kindergarten and that about the time I retired, so I had lots of time to spend with them. I was the guy that picked them up from daycare and took them to kindergarten and back and forth and all that. And the point I was going to make was, in listening to all of the stories about Faribault, and believe me, I've told those kids so many stories that the way I tell the story, it doesn't mean it really happened to me, but they don't know that. If it happened to Tom Spitzenberg, I'm the hero in the story all the time. But anyway, as they've heard all these stories about Johnny Lemieux going off the cliff up by the Cheese Caves, and hitchhiking out to Roberts Lake to swim, and going hunting out in Cedar Lake for duck hunting, and just going out and fishing, and just taking a boat from someplace and taking it and using it and go camp on the islands overnight and stuff. And my oldest granddaughter, who's a senior this year, but a few years ago, she said, Grandpa, growing up in Faribault must have been like growing up in Disneyland. I think of it, you know what? I think we've reenacted everything they have in Disneyland at some point or another growing up. But we really did have freedom to run and freedom to go do things that the kids today just don't see and just don't have. But we've enjoyed it. I enjoy these things too. I like to hear what everybody's been up to. One thing we have in common, we're all pretty much the same age. So anything going on politically or health-wise or anything is affecting all of us. So I'll just let it go there. Nice to see everybody.
Good seeing you again, Fish.
Good seeing you, Wayne.
Yeah, it is. That kind of reminds me, Wayne, what you just said, that living up in that era, and Butch and I, we've talked about it. We probably all have, but anybody remember that show Happy Days back in the 1970s?
Yeah.
So I still have this vivid memory of one of the students that I had at that time. She came up one day and she said, "You are so lucky." And I said, "What did I do?" And she said, you got to grow up in the 50s. And she's, of course, was referring to Happy Days. She thought that's what life was like. I said, yeah, we were pretty darn lucky and we didn't really get into that much trouble. I mean, bad trouble. We got into trouble, but we didn't get into
Didn't get caught.
it was
Yeah.
bad.
You know,
The thing I think a little bit is I think we learned responsibility because we actually had to be responsible.
Mhm.
You know? And it's when everybody plans and organizes everything for you as a kid that you do, you don't really get the chance to truly be responsible or independent. I think we got the chance to do a lot of that stuff, and we learned from our mistakes what not to do, and we got to be creative building things. And anyway, it was a great time to grow up. There's no question about that.
I know one thing you wouldn't see today that was common when we were in high school, would be 4 boys carrying 16 gauge shotguns down 7th Street to go hunting ducks out in Bully Wells. You wouldn't get a block.
We've been there.
You wouldn't.
Anyway, I'm done. Go on to the next person.
Yeah, well, Susan Jilks, you're up next. So you need to unmute yourself.
Yeah, there I go.
There
Pushed
you
the
go.
wrong- clicked on the wrong thing. We're both doing well. You saw my husband. He joined us for a little bit here, and my dog is annoying me. But
Let's see
we're both doing
Sparky.
well.
I want to see Sparky, Susan.
What?
I want to see Sparky.
No, Dusty?
Dusty.
Dusty.
Yeah, where's Dusty?
I'll get him in a minute.
Okay.
But we're both doing well. For some of you that don't know, I got married in 2015, and so we're coming up on our 6th anniversary in January, and we're staying really close to home. We've spent Thanksgiving by ourselves, and we'll be spending Christmas by ourselves, even though my husband's got family right, like 10 minutes from us. And my family is in Evanston. So we live in southern Wisconsin, Lake Geneva area. And our lives seems to have been consumed with doctor's appointments. But because a lot of the things that put off in March and April then all happened in like August and October, and I have started working part-time at the library again, so I do have a way to get out and have some distraction. That's about it. It's really good to see everybody. We did a family Zoom call on the Sunday of Thanksgiving weekend with my husband's family. That's about it for us. Let me see if I can get Dusty here. Come here.
Anybody remember going to a party or dancing down in the basement at Susan Jilks' house when you were
Oh, yes.
teenagers?
Oh yeah, I've thought about those a couple of times.
Oh, look at him. Oh,
So cute.
There he is.
oh, he's cute, Sue.
I remember changing storm windows at Susan's house.
Yes, yeah.
I remember a date I had with Sue one time, and I can't remember what the event was, but she had me up to her house, and she had baked a pie. I can't remember. It was probably a peach pie or something like that. She
It
probably
was a
remember.
peach pie, yeah.
But that sure was a good pie. I still think of that often, Sue.
Well, I think of the time that Butch and I went to a dance, and it was supposed to be a street dance in Piggly Wiggly parking lot. And it started to rain. And so they moved the dance to the Armory.
Sure.
Okay.
And the dance was supposed to be over at 10 o'clock. But by the time everything got moved, it didn't start until 10 o'clock.
Oh,
And was going to go till midnight. And my father walked in as the band was signing off, tapped on my shoulder to pick me up because it was raining. You know, it wasn't, it was what, about, you remember that, Butch?
Yeah, I do now. Now that you mentioned, I do
And
remember.
it was raining, one of those rains where it's like one drop you got on you every block. Needless to say, I was a little irritated.
Well, you probably had a curfew and he wanted you to honor that curfew
I
or
think
something.
we were leaving for Lake Geneva the next morning at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, sure.
And
So I've got Marion and Marianne up next. So if you guys would like to take over.
She said I should go first. Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. You talk about the pandemic and COVID. It's really rampant in Rice County. It's getting very scary. The paper the other night said Rice County had over 4,000 cases, which is 2,000 more than any of the surrounding counties. So that's pretty scary. So I try to stay home. During the last few months, I've had a series of what I would call nuisance ailments. You know, they required seeing doctors and whatever, but they were just nuisances. And the one you'll enjoy hearing about is my earlobe. I hadn't put earrings in for several weeks. And when I went to put one in, I must have done it crosswise or something because it got nasty and it swelled up. I looked like a prize fighter. Like I had a cauliflower ear. And I had to take myself to the ER the Sunday of Memorial Weekend to get antibiotics and whatever. It was kind of a mess and I sure looked funny for a while. One of my high school memories, you talk about the Army, Sue, Armory. I remember decorating for all the sock hops for, what was his name? Kleinfeld? No, Jack. What was his name? Jack? He ran the recreation department.
Yeah.
Oh, Burke?
No, not Burke.
Jack Kleinberg or Klein something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it was always the twins and Judy Carp and Ann and Jeannie Winkleman and me and Lynn, of course. And we had a lot of fun doing that. I remember one time we made a big snowman with chicken wire and Kleenex or tissue paper or something. And then for the next dance, we took it apart and made it into an igloo. We're so creative.
You were.
Yeah. And I remember the Valentine's party when I was queen to Ollie's king. Remember that, Ollie?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, who could forget? Silver lining, I think it's been having friends like what I call the Fabulous Five. Mary Ann, Mary Lee, Jeannie, Patty, the five of us. We've been together a lot, and you really realize how important your friends are, especially when your family's so far away. I'm all alone. So.
And it's become quite a bond.
Yep, it sure has. You know, and 60 years later, whoever would have dreamed, you know. But here we are again. My kids are still scattered. My daughter is still in Munich, Germany. She's had some issues. She had to have back surgery. Then she had a blood clot in her lung and pleurisy, so she's been kind of miserable. My son is in Florida. Usually the last 5 years, I would be getting ready to go out to Connecticut, where he used to live, and spend Christmas in Connecticut. Oh, they should make a movie like that. Oh, I guess they already did. Oh, you know, such humor. And I've enjoyed talking back and forth with Pete a lot. we kind of know which kind of emails we're going to enjoy. Some of them are 1 Kleenex and some of them are 5 Kleenexes, right?
Absolutely.
But you know, those are the silver linings you have to look for. My kitty keeps me busy cleaning up after her when she gets into something. I locked her out so that she wouldn't be bothering us because she likes Mary Ann. But that's all. Everybody have a blessed Christmas. Count your blessings.
Same to you.
Thank you.
Ollie, I'll be saying prayers for Diane next week.
Gosh, yes.
Thank you.
You bet.
Well, talking about prayers, being 77 years old, my prayer list is getting mighty long these days. When I reflect back on high school, I think of in junior high, the noon hour.
Oh, yeah.
Best education. But I used to love the dances and the movies, and we had a whole hour, and it was just, it was a good time. You could go downstairs. I can remember, or downtown, I mean, I can remember going for walks, going in the bluffs up by Treasure Cave, and just all kinds of things. Like I think others have said, we were pretty doggone free and we weren't scared.
No.
It was a good time to grow up. I've got 2 daughters and they both live in Lakeville. April, my oldest, has lived all over the place, and I used to pray and pray that she'd move back to Minnesota, and she finally did several years ago, and it's great to have them here. I myself had surgery this year. I had an ablation. I had a small growth on my left kidney, which was cancerous, and they froze it, and they felt they got it all. I will have an MRI in 3 months, and we will just check. And I guess I'll be having MRIs the rest of my life to make sure it doesn't come back. As far as what I've done during COVID, I've got a huge garden, and I pulled a lot of weeds this summer. And a lot of flowers. I've got 9 flower beds, and the vegetables, not as many, but I had some. But I love being outside. If I had to choose between working out in my garden and cleaning my house, I'll take the garden every time. We also were by ourselves for Thanksgiving this year, and I'm praying that we'll be able to get together for Christmas. One of our traditions at Christmas is we have a dice game that we play. And I usually buy all the gifts for it, and I do that all year long, and I've got a big pile of gifts downstairs. But we roll dice, and every time anybody gets a double, they get to pick a prize, and then we put a timer on when the prizes are all gone, and we steal for 5 minutes. So it gets pretty loud, but it's fun. It's fun, good time. Other than that, I think I'm going to close. We've got a lot of people that need to talk yet, but I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. And I am looking forward to next year, our Red Sweater Day, where we can all be together again.
Butch Wilson, you're up next.
All righty. Hello, everybody, and I want to wish everybody a happy holiday. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
And I have a very fond memory of growing up on the east side of the Faribault, and I think Denny and Butch, the other Butch. Hi, Butch.
Hello there, Butch. Good to see you, guy.
We used to have as soon as school got out, we'd start a softball game, and it would last all summer long, off and on during you remember those guys, Denny and Butch, those wonderful days we had playing softball?
Yeah, right out there on the Deaf School campus.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. And there's also another high school memory that I think involved Tom Switzenberg and maybe Koger and maybe Wayne King. It was Halloween. And I looked out my front door of my house. I lived right next door to Jack Dreyer at that time, or he lived right next door to us, I should say. And there must have been 150 jack-o'-lanterns that somebody had placed on his lawn. And I think it was Switzerberg and Tom Koger and that crowd that unruly and rowdy bunch of football players that got together and counted up a bunch of those wayward pumpkins and put them on Jack's lawn. I could just remember. I could just close my eyes and see that.
We would never do anything like that, Butch.
My wife and I are looking forward to the 28th of this month when we will celebrate our 55th wedding anniversary. And it's a very good thing that I have married my best friend, because with this isolation, I've gotten along remarkably well with her. We haven't had too many of what a friend of mine used to call lively discussions, and which most people refer to as arguments, but he always referred to them as lively discussions. But we're doing well.
Thanks, Pete.
We have two kids, two daughters. The oldest one celebrated her 50th birthday last year by walking about 450 miles on the El Camino trail over northern Spain.
My goodness.
And the younger one is married and has two children, two daughters. The oldest one is a senior in high school this year. And we're hoping and praying that when it comes time for open house, that we can have it at our backyard, because I know some of you have maybe seen our backyard, but I'm trying to put together a website to showing the highlight of my wife's activities out there. We have a yard that goes back probably at least 200 feet, and it's quite shady, and she's quite the gardener. She has about 1,000 hosta plants and about 160 different varieties. And some husbands come home and the wives have rearranged the furniture. I come home and she's rearranged the flowers. But that's her therapy. That's that's what keeps her sane. And right now, this time of year, she's going through dirt withdrawal because she can't get out there and get a hold of it. But other than that, we've been blessed with pretty good health this last year, despite all the nonsense that's going on with the virus. And I'm so glad that that's not a repeat of 2018, when I happened to have 5 different surgeries that year: 2 on my eye, 2 on my one knee, and 1 I will not mention where the other one was. But anyway, since then we've both been quite healthy, and we're praying for all of you who are struggling with issues right now. And Maggie, I see you on my screen right now, and you are always in my thoughts and prayers.
Oh, thank you very much, and belated happy birthday, Roy.
Oh, thank you. Yes. And if you haven't ever read the book that Maggie wrote, I urge you to get a copy of it, because it is so inspiring. It's seen me through a couple times.
Good.
Events that have gone on this year, especially with this COVID nonsense that's going on. So far, knock wood and praying, thank God we haven't encountered any of that stuff, but we practice social distancing. We wear our mask when the rare occasion occurs when we have to go out. And so we're being as conscientious as we can about that. So it's really good to see everyone. I wish everyone a happy holiday, happy Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and maybe next year, not maybe, but we will get together next year.
So we've got Sandy Van Erp up. Sandy, you want to go ahead?
Hi, Sandy.
Glad you could join.
Hi, Maggie. I've been, like everyone else, just marveling at you and what an inspiration you are. I have not gotten to any of the, Thursday is a volunteer thing for me, and I'm at a cat shelter, a no-kill cat shelter, and we're really, I can't drive down and get back in time for the shift, and it's hard to get volunteers. And I'm also working with the Washington County Resource Center that our church does. So Thursday is just a bad day for me. But I gotta say that this is great. I mean, I don't think if you were around a table and having lunch or anything, you would get all this wonderful stories and updates and everything. So as remote as it is, this is wonderful. And I'm so glad that I was able to work it out and get this done. I'm really tired of watching everybody in postage size, you know, as we all are. But at least technology is saving us. I have two daughters, and the oldest one is married, and then she just moved from Colorado, and her husband took a new job in the Tucson area. So she is leaving snow behind, which is her main thing. She's working telecommuting for Western Union. And my youngest daughter is here, and she's not married, but she has a special person, and she's working with gifted children. She was Washington County and in the Woodbury school system for many years, and then got her master's in gifted learning. My end, that I'm just getting disconnected occasionally. But anyhow, she is working in this school mess that's going on that I'm sure grandchildren and so forth, it's just a mess everywhere. And so she's working with gifted children and doing this remote Zoom thing and everything. But I'm in the same house that I've been in for 50 years. I bought the house in 74 and raised the kids here. And it's in Maplewood, and we're fine. I'm going on the 7th year of being treasurer of the association. As you all know, I'm absolutely into music, and it's been my comfort, my whatever. And missing the choral community, just terrible. This is whoever thought this was there would be anything that would sideline people singing. And so our pastor is gearing up for a big blowout at Easter. He's such a positive speaker. And every day he comes on with a message and says, love wins. And so he's very positive, and it took him a while to understand that worship was going to have to be removed from churches. I'm on my 7th Life church. I had to count that. I was out at Golden Valley, which was a long drive. For 15 years, I followed a music director out there. And now I am following 7 churches, including 3 or 4 in Faribault. And you talk about life in Faribault. I guess I'm on this Facebook page, like many of you are, that if you look, I think there's 6,000 people on there, and it's from all decades and so forth. And sometimes some of the stories, I wonder, did I ever live in that town?
I agree.
I mean, it's very enjoyable, and a lot of history that I certainly never knew when I was there. I grew up on the St. Mary's campus, and then moved over and was part of the East Side gang for a while. And of course, it was Mom and I. Dad died when I was 13. And but the Trinity gang has gotten together. The confirmation class, our pastor got us together a couple of times, which has been wonderful. So definitely keeping touch with the old town. I mean, there's nothing in the cities that can replace it. And I know that the people that grow up here and North St. Paul, that's a fairly small school and so forth, but it's not the same experience that we had in Faribault. I definitely relate to, somebody said we felt safe. Very definitely. I mean, growing up on the St. Mary's campus, and then even when Mom and I moved to the 5th Street house, and even when I was, my ex-husband and I, we left the car unlocked, and you just didn't, it was just different than it is now. And now we're putting cameras on our door to try and watch people at the front door. And our association has had a fair amount of vandalism and so forth in the public parking lots, fortunately not in the houses. So, but the East Side, there's a number of neighborhoods around here with Hill Murray and North and Maplewood. The reports all over the place. It's just been a really bad year. I don't know if you can blame it on Zoom or not, or on COVID or not, but I'm doing pretty much what everybody's doing. I'm very blessed with good health.
Yeah.
I think we should, we got a couple people yet that haven't had a chance. So Lynn, are you ready?
Sure. Just want to say Merry Christmas to everyone. We're well and healthy. We're on day 6 of our 10-day of isolation because our daughter-in-law came down with COVID. But we're both doing really good. Decided we'll do a lot of dining in. We have a new chef and he makes he's named Chef Kraft, and he makes his world famous macaroni and cheese for us. We really enjoy.
Works well.
All our kids are doing fine. We've had like you, Ollie, in our family. Our granddaughter's husband was hospitalized and then on oxygen for about over 150 days.
Oh my gosh.
And my nephew, his in-laws both passed away with it within 11 hours of each other. So it's really kind of hit pretty close to home for us, but we're all happy.
Len?
Yes.
Len, did I read that your husband had some tests and so forth? And was that your husband that you were referring to, that you were that the tests were okay?
Oh
That
yeah,
Jim?
he's had some tests. Yeah, medical things like we all do at our age as we get a little older. But just listening to everybody and about growing up in Faribault, it's just like when people ask me, well, where'd you grow up? And you tell them, Mayberry, USA. So anyway, want to get on to the next person. Everyone have a very blessed Christmas, and hopefully we'll have a wonderful new year.
Merry Christmas.
Bless you, Len.
Merry Christmas, Lynn.
Yeah, for sure. Well, guys, what do you think? Are we
I have one more thing I'd like to say,
okay?
and that is, there's a shout out to this class. And some of you have heard me say this before, but when I tell my other friends up here in the Twin Cities about how close this class is after all these years, they don't believe me. And I said, I've got the proof. I've got the pictures if you want to see them. because they just, my wife's class was almost I think near 1,000, and she has only 2 people that she even remembers from that class that she even remotely connects with. And the idea of them getting together for a luncheon where they'd have as many people as we have when we get together for those luncheons, it's just beyond their comprehension. They don't understand it. And I think it's because of like people have been saying all along today, that it's where we grew up and when we grew up that we had that connection. We were all, it was a close-knit community to start with, and it remained that way because of all the friendships we made and the kinds of activities that we did together and the kinds of friendships that we have. So
leadership, Ray, Butch, leadership.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Jim and Ollie and Marion and Lynn do a lot of the work too, so.
You guys.
Yeah, you do.
Well, I mean, you can thank Ollie and Lynn and the crew in Faribault because they really kept this thing going all those years, having the reunions. But I think the bottom line, kind of like Butch says, is we
Everybody
like
did.
each other.
Yeah.
We enjoy each other's company like this. And or maybe it was the year 1961, because my wife's class up in Cambridge, Minnesota, they don't get together as often as we do, but they do a fall lunch and they'll have 50 to 55 people there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he said 60.
So for coming in ninth grade.
Well,
Just gonna say,
I think if everything works out, there's a chance that our next get together in late spring can be in person, if not early summer.
That'd be wonderful.
But maybe if everybody's up for it, we could do one more of these sometime during the middle of the winter when we're
hunker down.
in our houses. So
Twiddling our toes.
One thing,
Wonderful idea.
This is a great way to get together.
yeah, well, thank goodness for this technology. I mean, it happened to be here at the right time. Can
I
I,
don't
but
think
I
I
just
could
can't imagine.
I don't think I could ever come to the Red Sweater Luncheon in Faribault, but I've enjoyed the Zoom meeting.
Well, I was wondering if there would be some way, like for our next red sweater, we could have a combination of the two where we could set up,
There you go.
we're at the country club, we
Mhm.
could set up and people could kind of join us virtually.
That'd be a great idea.
Like the same way, but
That'd be good.
Yeah.
there's,
Well, it's so
Anyway.
nice to see everybody that's out of state. That, or
Yeah,
even, you know,
that's
that's
great.
up north that we can get to see.
there's one thing, Jim, that we ought to be thinking about. If everything clears up with this COVID thing is, 2021 is our 60th anniversary graduation.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
The class of 1960 had to cancel theirs this last summer. And hopefully we don't have to, we should be planning some kind of a get together if it's possible in 2021 for our 60th get together.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Have to see.
I
how
agree,
the-
yeah. no, I
I'll be
agree.
there.
We'll start our meetings
Yeah, me too.
tomorrow for that.
Backdrop, I see.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
don't
everybody
have it
have
on a
a-
Thursday.
They're always on Thursday.
Well, I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year
That's right.
and to be safe and healthy and let's
Jim?
until we can see each other again. So
All right.
Thank you, Jim, for putting this
Seeing
together.
everybody.
And
All
Merry
right.
Jim.
Bye.
Thank you.
Blessings and
and I will
love.
put the
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
I know.
good night.
Goodbye.
Good night, all.
Bye.
Bye.